In today's episode, I'm going to talk about time management tips. So a good friend of mine reached out and he's like, "Hey, Rodney, I've heard you talk about things about time management in the past, but he couldn't find an actual video that I dedicated to the topic." And so I said, "You know what? I got you, because I know exactly what you need, bro." And so here's what I said. Here's what I'll do. I'll make a video that is dedicated to talking about time management. Okay. And here's what I came up with. Here's going to be the title of today's presentation. Time doesn't need management, but you do. Let me say it again. Time doesn't need management, but you do. Let's talk about it. Welcome to another episode of Career Strategies. My name is Rodney Hughes, Mr. 100%. Today's episode is being brought to you by Interview Prep University. If you need help preparing for an upcoming telephone, video, or face-to-face interview, this is a 100% free virtual training platform that's designed to help you exponentially improve your job interview skills prior to your upcoming interview. So if you want to be best prepared, you got to take advantage of this because, again, it's 100% free. You don't have to sign up for anything. All you have to do is head on over to this website, www.interviewprepuniversity.com. Again, that's www.interviewprepuniversity.com. Head on over. It's 100% free, and you can thank me later. Again, that's www.interviewprepuniversity.com. Okay, so again, what we're talking about in today's episode is time doesn't need management. Do you understand that? Time doesn't need management, but you do. And so in order to kind of, speak about this entire topic and give it its just due, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you 5 ideas that I just want you to think about, that I just want you to consider when it comes to time management, because time management is one of these key words that we hear a lot, right? We hear people talk about time management. We got to become better at time management. There are books that have been written about time management. And so, again, by the end of this presentation, my hope is that you will walk away with a better understanding of some things that can help you from a time management perspective per se. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into it. The first thing that I want to talk to you about is this. I always like to start with the definition. And I like starting with definitions because, quite honestly, I believe that words matter. I believe that definitions matter. And so I looked up, okay, what does management mean? Okay, because that's the key word, I think, right? Because time is time. Time is what it is. Okay, but I wanted to look up the word management, and I wanted to look up what is that definition. And here's what I found when I did a quick Google searches. I saw management is the process of dealing with or controlling things or people. Let me say that again. The process of dealing with or controlling things or people. Here's what I want you to understand. There is no such thing as time management. I think that it's one of these situations where this is a phrase that we have come up with that really doesn't necessarily fit reality. See, here's what I need you to understand. There's no such thing as time management. There's only self-management. You understand that? Because when you look at it from a definition perspective, the process of dealing with or controlling things or people, you don't deal with time. You definitely don't control time, right? You don't control it at all. See, here's the thing. Time is ruthlessly, emphasis on ruthlessly, consistent. It is one of the most consistent things on this planet. The only thing that's as consistent that I could think of off the top of there's a few things, but the next closest thing, I'll put it that way, that's as consistent as time is death. Do you understand that? Death itself. One thing's for sure, I've never met a person who's been able to cheat death. It's a fact. Everybody at some point is going to experience it. It is a reality. This is not me getting morbid with you. This is not me, trying to get negative or of any sort. It's just a reality. That is a part of living. If you become alive at some point in your life, you will transition. It is very consistent. Time is the exact same way. Time is going to continue moving forward, whether you want it to or not. You are never going to be able to slow it down. You are never going to be able to adjust it. I don't care what your situation is. I don't care how rich you are. I don't care how poor you are. I don't care how happy you are. I don't care how sad you are. None of these factors matter when it comes to time. You don't have to manage time. Every second that goes by is going to go by at the exact same pace and rate that it has always gone by since the beginning of time. You see how that works? Time is ruthlessly consistent. And you need to understand that. Because again, you can't manage time. Time is not to be managed. Time is what it is. It's going to do what it does. Okay? You got to manage yourself. And that's why I wanted to start this talk off with this. Because if you don't understand that, then nothing I tell you in this episode is going to be of very much help to you. Okay? I want you to understand there's no such thing as time management, right? That's like saying that you're going to manage gravity. No, you ain't managing gravity, right? Listen, here's how gravity works. You go to the top of a building. You think you're going to manage gravity? Walk off the building and tell me if you end up successfully managing it. Now, I am being sarcastic. I have to say this. I don't want anybody to walk off of the top of a building. Please understand that. I was joking. Okay? Got to give a disclaimer for some of the slower ones that are listening to this. So I'm not telling you to walk off a building. All right? I'm just using this metaphorically speaking. If you walk off the top of a building, you no longer you're not going to manage gravity. Gravity is going to do what gravity does, right? And similarly, if you want to manage something, you need to manage yourself, right? You need to say, oh, getting a little bit close to the edge there, let me back away. That's managing yourself, right? That's how time works. You have to manage yourself, right? No such thing as managing time. Words matter. Okay? Got to manage yourself. Everything points to you. All right? Now that we're on the same page, let's move to the next point. Here's the deal. Point number 2. Before you can manage yourself, okay, since we know that's actually what the real meaning that people are when people say time management, that's what they're actually talking about, self-management. Before you can manage yourself, you must first believe that you can succeed. Now we're getting into the mental side of self-management, not time management, self-management. See, here's the deal. If you don't believe that you can actually win or succeed at whatever it is that you feel is important enough to try to manage it, you'll never get it done. That's why time management is such a big thing, because people aren't acting, right? See, because if you were in a constant state of just all out unreasonable action, you would never need to know about time management. Okay? That's just the reality of it, right? The people who are learning about time management more often than not are people who are on some level. In most cases, I would believe, and I'm totally guessing, I could be completely wrong. I'm not an expert in time management, okay? But what I can tell you is this, what I believe just from observing, okay, and also from my own experiences, when I look at the times when I wasn't managing myself properly with the time that I have, what I realize is that in a lot of those instances, I didn't really believe that I could succeed. And so I came up with all these reasons as to why I wasn't taking action. And that's why it's so important. Before if something is important enough to where you feel like you need to get it done, you got to be convinced. You have to do some work on yourself and believe and have a sense of certainty that you can get it done. You have to eliminate uncertainty, right? And this is where kind of positive thinking comes into mind, right? I don't want you to be so positive that you don't assess the things that could potentially go wrong, because it's important for you to know the things that could potentially go wrong. But at the same time, you don't want to focus on those things so heavily to where you don't end up taking any action, right? You got to get to a place to where you're like, okay, I know that it won't be easy, but I believe that I have the fortitude in order to move forward and get the job done. See, if you have the mental fortitude and the resilience of mind and the mindset that there's nothing that could happen in this process that could stop you from accomplishing what it is you set out to accomplish, then you're in a position, then you're operating from a position of power. So that's what you got to do. You got to become sold, okay? You got to sell yourself on the fact that you can actually accomplish what it is that you're setting out to accomplish, regardless of how difficult things may end up being. Third point that I want you to take from today's episode is this: documentation beats conversation. Let me say it again. And I usually use this expression a different way, but I think when I was thinking about how to explain this, I think this is probably, it works for quote unquote time management, better known as self-management. I think this expression works really well. Documentation beats conversation. So think about, I noticed this. I started thinking about myself in the times when I've gotten things done versus the times when I didn't get things done in an effective manner or in a timely manner. And one of the things that I noticed is that when I document, when I write things down or I type things in my computer as like a task list of things that I need to get done, I typically get those things done, right? Because what ends up happening is that I'm able to organize things. When I write it down, I'm able to organize it. I'm able to visualize it. I'm able to have a sense of clarity about what it is that needs to get done, so that way I don't have to run the chance of forgetting something. See, every time that I've had to try to get things done and I just rely on my memory, inevitably I end up missing things, or I end up forgetting about accomplishing certain tasks. And the reason why is because depending on the nature of what it is that you're trying to accomplish, there could potentially be a lot of moving parts. And the worst thing you could do is rely on your mind, right? Because most people don't have the type of mind where they're able to just completely go off the top of their head and remember everything. There are some people in this world that know how to do it. I just haven't met a whole bunch of people who have been able to successfully do it. So what I say is, especially if it's coming down to something important enough, where quote unquote time management, better known as self-management, becomes a real issue for you, you need to write it down. You need to document it, right? So that you can be very clear on, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do this, I need to do that. Point number 4 that I want you to take away from today's episode is this. Kiss your damn frogs and get it out the way. Let me say it again. Kiss your damn frogs and get it out the way. Now, can't take credit for this one, okay? This expression, I get this from a gentleman by the name of Dan Pena. He is the $50 billion man. You can look him up on YouTube. Has a bunch of tremendously valuable information out on YouTube. Go check it out. But I think this is super important. This is a very important concept. This is probably one of the most important things that I've learned from Dan Pena, is this idea of kissing frogs. And when he actually mentioned this, he was referencing the idea of doing cold calling, okay, which is, sales calls, calling people that you don't know, or walking into places where you don't know the people and trying to get business. That's essentially what he was referring to. And when I think about time management, right, another reason why I think time management is such a big thing is because on a certain level, people are trying to avoid the things that they don't like doing. Okay? And here's the deal. It doesn't matter. Look, here's something interesting, and I'm gonna bring it back full circle, but I just thought about this. A lot of times when you see people who are succeeding in a space and they love what they do, okay, what you have to understand, right, especially when they're crushing out, when it seems like they have a tremendous work ethic and they just dive into their stuff, you could tell they love what it is that they do. What you got to understand is there's some part of what they're doing, if they're being successful, especially over the long term, there's something that they're doing 9 times out of 10 that they have to do, but they don't like doing it. Okay? So for instance, as an example, let's say that you see a professional speaker, right? That professional speaker might love getting on stage and really being able to share information and share knowledge and really be able to impact people. They get so much joy out of it. They get so excited when they do it that it makes everything worthwhile. But you know what they might not like? They might not like going to the airport, having to go through the airport to try to, catch a flight, okay, and then flights being delayed, and then having to talk to people or going to meetings that they really don't necessarily want to go to, right? These are the things, right, that they might not necessarily like, but it's important because it's a part of that gig. You understand? And the thing is you can't not do those things, right? Maybe as a professional speaker, you have to make cold calls, because if you don't make cold calls, you might not be able to generate enough opportunities for you to do what it is you love. And there are a million different examples that I could give you of people that are in the field that they actually love being in, but there are aspects of that they don't necessarily like doing. And here's what I need you to understand. When those moments come where you have to complete a task that you don't like doing, I want you to just kiss the damn frog and get it out the way. Okay? Don't procrastinate. That's really what this point is all about. You can't afford to procrastinate. Better yet, if you know that there are things that you don't like doing, but that you need to do, make sure those are the first things that you just get on out the way. You know what? When I get my plate of food, okay, I don't necessarily like vegetables like that. So what do? I start with my vegetables. I get that on out the way, right? And the reason why is because if I get the other stuff out the way first, I'm more inclined to just say, I get to that later. Or, no, I'm not going to eat that. I'm full now, right? But all that other stuff isn't going to be nearly as beneficial to me as eating those vegetables. You see how that works? Same thing applies to you when it comes to time management, better known as self-management. There are some things that are important that you're not going to like doing. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you find the world's greatest job for you. There's going to be some part of it that you just cannot stand. And those are the things that you need to get done, because oftentimes those things that you can't stand are the exact things that will propel you to more success. Don't procrastinate. Don't put it off. Okay? Because you run the chance of never getting around to it or delaying the inevitable. Why delay the inevitable? Just doesn't make any sense. Just get it out the way. Kiss the frog, man. And point number 5, and this is the last point. Don't ever mistake activity for productivity. I'm sure you've heard this expression before, but it's super important, especially as it relates to time management, better known as self-management. Okay? There's a huge difference between doing something and getting something done. A quote that I have in both of my books, Selling Domination and in my other book, The Ugly Truth About Getting Hired, is this quote right here. The only things that pay in life are the things that you get done. Let me say it again. The only things that pay in life are the things that you get done. What are you getting done, my friend? If you decided one day that you wanted to wake up and run a marathon, and a marathon is like 26 miles or something. If you run 25 miles and quit, you didn't run a marathon. You understand how that works? It was incomplete. You wasted 25 hours or 25 miles worth of time. You can't sit here and think that doing something is you actually progressing. To put this in better perspective for you, I like to always give examples. So I work out in the gym. And every year, at the beginning of the year, people set these New Year resolutions, and they get inspired. They go out to their local gym. They spend money on a gym membership. And a large percentage of those people don't even ever come in and use it, not even one time. There's a large percentage of people that do actually use it one or a few times, but then they end up quitting somewhere along the way. Very few of those people end up remaining committed and seeing it through, seeing that dream through that they had in their mind. Maybe their dream was, I want to drop 20 pounds. Excuse me. Maybe that dream was to drop 50 pounds. I don't know, whatever the dream was. Very few people stick with it until they get it done. If you're going to go down a path, okay, and this is important from a time management perspective, okay, because this is all about prioritizing what you commit to. See, time management, I think a lot of times when people think about time management, they think about it from a short-term perspective. They think about it from a perspective of what I have to do today. And what I have to do today is vitally important. Don't get it twisted. But you also have time management, aka or better known as self-management, from a long-term perspective. I don't care how hard you work out in the gym, you're never going to you're never going to lose 50 pounds in a healthy fashion in one day. Okay? It may even be impossible to lose 50 pounds in one day, but for sure, you won't do it from a healthy perspective in one day. It doesn't matter how hard you work out. It doesn't matter it doesn't even matter. You know what it will require for you to end up losing 50 pounds in a year? It means that for that entire year, you're going to have to commit to doing stuff that you might not be the biggest fan of, but you're going to have to prioritize that time, because there's a certain amount of time and effort and consistency that you're going to have in order to get it done. But what matters is you got to get it done. Okay? You don't get any brownie points for working out and then you come close to accomplishing your goal, but you didn't accomplish your goal. Never equate activity for productivity. Doing for getting something done. Those are two different things. I want you to focus on the getting things done side. I want you to focus on understanding that by getting things done, you'll be able to attract more success in your life. Okay? And also remember this. You can multitask, but you can't multi-focus. You understand that? You can multitask. See, so many people multitask, right? When it comes to when it comes to time management or self-management, they start multitasking and doing all this stuff, right? But you can't multi-focus. What is the most important thing that you need to get done? Every day you need to be asking yourself, what's the most important thing that you need to get done? Get that done. If you don't get to some of the less important things, that's okay. But the important things, you got to get them done. Okay? You need focus to get it done. Listen, hopefully you got great value out of today's episode. Let me ask you a question. So, do you know what the biggest challenge is that you're going to face in your career? I don't care what industry you're a part of. I don't care what profession you have chosen as your profession of choice. None of that matters. You're going to face this problem, and it's going to be your biggest challenge for sure. The biggest challenge you're going to face in your career is competition. Here's what I need you to understand. Right here, right now, as we speak, competition is fierce in the job market. See, most people think that when they're applying for a job, whether it's internally at their current organization or whether they are applying to a job externally to another organization, a lot of people are under the false pretense that they're only competing with people in their immediate area. As an executive recruiter, I can tell you with absolute certainty that that's not the case. If you think that a job is a great job and that it's worth you applying for that job, there are easily hundreds of other people out there that feel the exact same way about that job. Many of them won't be qualified for it, but please understand that you're competing on a global scale. Okay? Right now. And the thing is that over the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, the competition is going to become absolutely insane because of the technological advancements that are being made right now as we speak. But But here's the thing. The real question is are you going to be prepared as the competition becomes more and more fierce? See, what if I could teach you a step-by-step system that could help you exponentially improve your odds of being able to eliminate the overwhelming majority of your competition and be able to position yourself as the ideal candidate of choice? Is that something you'd be interested in learning more about? Well, if that's the case, then I want you to pick up a copy of my book, The Ugly Truth About Getting Hired: How to Land the Job of Your Dreams Regardless of the Competition. This book is all about showing you how to crush your competition in a moral and ethical way. How to position yourself as the solution for the job that you're interviewing for. It's a quick read and it's packed with tons of content, tons of practical content. If you'd like to pick up a copy of this book, head on over to www.theuglytruthbook.com. Again, that's www.theuglytruthbook.com. When you place your order, you'll immediately gain access to a free downloadable version of this book so you could dive into it immediately, and then I'll send off an autographed copy of this book to you within 48 hours. Again, head on over to www.theuglytruthbook.com. Hopefully you got great value out of today's episode, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.